Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Giving Back with Steve and Michele. I'm Steve Shaw. It's my wife, Michele, and we are grateful to be here and with Kavehi Marshall. She is actually from Hawaii, and the Hawaiian name trips me up a little bit. But welcome. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here. I've never been on one before. This is fun.
Nice. Well, it's pretty easy. We're just going to talk about you. It's kind of easy. So you're with like multiple nonprofits. The ones that I wanted to highlight and which could go on our screen as you talked about is first one is Teen Challenge. And so tell us a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about you from Hawaii.
Yeah, born and raised in Hawaii. Came here in 1979. Yes, I'll let you know my age there. Went to college, went to UPS and graduated. Went home to find a job, but 83 was not a really good time to try to find a job. Was recruited heavily here by Radio Shack and Tandy Corporation. So I came back and ended up staying. And Tacoma, many people don't know this, but Tacoma is much like my hometown of Hilo. Hilo is on the Big Island of Hawaii. And it's a small town. It's not big. It's very laid back. And the winters, I live between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa on the Big Island. So we wore flannels, and I was cold during the winter. And we have a lot of rain. So this kind of felt very comfortable.
Really?
And
Wow.
so I, got married, had a child, ended up just staying here. And there's a very large Hawaiian and Pacific Islander population in Washington, Oregon, California. Huge. I have probably 50 to 75 classmates from my graduating class in Hawaii that all live up here.
Yeah, it's actually kind of I want to say with the saying lovingly, but kind of cultish. So when I lived in Hawaii, I lived in Hawaii for 3 years, and I would kick myself every time I left. But I got invited to a 1-year-old birthday party.
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
First birthdays are huge.
Oh my God. And tell us why. That was like, it just blew my mind on how that worked.
It's really interesting. The first birthday, if a child made it to the first birthday, it was a huge celebration. And some of it is not real good because there was a lot of intermarriages through royalty families. But if a child made it to their first birthday, they were going to be successful and succeed. And so it's huge. And the first birthday for any Hawaiian or Pacific Islander is huge. And when you go all out and you do.
Yeah, they had like several pigs and a huge luau. And it was like I didn't even know the child, but I just wanted to go to this party. And it was huge. I mean, it's like people invited more people, and it was at this lovely park. And
it's still, it is a cultural event. And so up here, you get invited to a lot of first birthdays.
So there were a lot of child deaths or newborn fatality, not fatalities, but not making it through the first year.
Yeah.
So it's a huge celebration.
It's a huge celebration.
Well, tell us about
Adult Teen Challenge. So I work for Adult Teen Challenge just part-time right now, but they are a faith-based recovery addiction center located over in Graham. There's 25 on the Pacific Northwest, our Pacific Northwest region. We have 5 states, and we have 25 different locations, and they are both male and female. Ours is a female base, and we have currently 14 awesome women, and they go out into the community and do good. I'm their outreach coordinator. So what I love to do is take them out, and we take them to Lawana Lee's Empowerment Center and help fill food boxes for Saturday distribution. I take them currently during COVID. I've been taking them to a lot of the food banks that aren't open because they just don't have enough help, or they just can't really do what they were doing. And we've cleaned them. So we've literally taken everything off the shelves and cleaned them and cleaned the gum from underneath the tables and the chairs and mopped the floors and just done that big cleaning. So when they do reopen, it's nice and fresh. And it's something that needs to be done. And it's a great time to do it because I can take a team of 13 in and get it done in a couple of hours.
Now, when you say your team, obviously it's comprised of young girls or
so our particular home is 18 and over for women, 18 and over.
Women, okay.
And they come in on their own. They can leave whenever they want. And most of them are supported by family and friends, but there are some that literally are not supported at all. So we do a sponsorship program, which is just $45 a month. And during COVID, we've really been upping that particular program because the women have had jobs on the side that they could do. But during COVID, those shut down. So there were some incidentals that weren't getting taken care of. And so the sponsorship program is one that is just vital to just keeping the girls there, helping them with their needs. It's funny, we were just talking the other day, and all their bedding is 5-6 years old. So the pillows, the blankets, the sheets, So I was asking the director, Stacy, what do we need? And she goes, if we could get new sheets and new pillows and new comforters, that would be amazing. So I actually have someone who is going to be donating 24 new pillows and pillowcases. So that's amazing.
That's huge.
If we can get, 24 more comforters and 24 more sheet sets, that would be amazing as well. Yeah.
So take me through one of these girls' lives. Like,
wow. Most of them most of them are addicted in some fashion or another, whether it's meth or heroin. Some of them have been homeless. Some of them have been on the streets. Some of them are married. Some of them have children. Some of them are single. They range literally 18 to 70 years old.
Wow.
And they come at all different aspects of their lives. And some of them may know the Lord, some may not. But we are a faith-based program. And we have a very strategic plan with our ladies. They have an educational time frame where they study, they go out into the community, they work hard. They are hard workers. They are just amazing. We currently have a tree lot that's over off of 112th Street and A Street in Parkland, and the girls run it. They run it. They pick up the trees. They take the trees to the cars. They're tough. They're tough cookies. And they're also very loving and kind. And I got to spend Thanksgiving Day with them. And it was one of the best Thanksgivings I've ever spent. And they want to change. They want to change. And that's it, to see where they are. Many of the directors and many of the staff at other teen challenges literally come from within. So I'm the non. I learned about Teen Challenge, volunteered, got excited, and then said, "Oh, I can work here! Yay!" So I'm one of the different ones. Most people have gone through it, or most people have had that addiction problem.
Yeah, but you give back so much to them because you are logistics, right? You are the person who puts things together and executes them, and so they needed that gift.
Oh, sure.
So that's really, really good.
So getting on the phone isn't a problem for you,
Not
right?
at all.
You get on the
No,
phone.
resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile. I love that. Wow. How many phone calls do you make a day?
I do not make that many because I make a lot of phone calls for outreach purposes. So a lot of my outreach is done to get what we need and to let people know about Teen Challenge. I mean, I want Teen Challenge. I want everybody in Graham to know who they are, what they do.
Yeah.
And we needed vases. So trying to get a new business going, some way for them to earn money, we decided we were going to make these bouquets for the fall, the winter, for Christmas. So I did this huge shout out for vases. I just need vases. Anybody. And we got 250 vases for them. And a lot of those came from Ignite You, which was amazing. I think over 220 of the vases came from Ignite You. And that's reaching out and letting people know. They wanted to clean out their cabinets anyway.
Right.
So I was just giving them a place to take it. And that's what I love doing, connecting. If you're cleaning out your closets, you're cleaning out your houses, I can tell you where to take things.
Yeah,
I know where to take things.
So, that leads us into the other great segue. So this leads us to the other part-time place that you work, which is Adorning Grace.
Yes.
Which I think we also have some pictures of what that kind of looks like.
Yes. So Adorning Grace is under the umbrella of Compassion Connect. And Compassion Connect is a organization in Oregon. It's based out of Oregon that does free medical and dental clinics. And they try to do them in small communities. They are faith-based as well. And they try to unite churches to come together, put their whatever religious things aside and just come together as a community. And they've been very successful. So we wanted to do our first one up here, and then COVID hit.
Yes.
And we said, we're going to do it anyway. So we did in September, and we got the health department to go walk with us through it. And I was very blessed because my background with logistics, with the Street of Dreams and the tour of remodeled homes, I understand logistics, and I have a lot of connections. So the health department wanted us to keep it very private, and everyone had to register. So we were able to fence the entire facility off. We were able to have PPEs that were very good. And part of that is the reason the clinics came about is because Adorned in Grace, their very first person that they helped who was trafficked, actually came to a clinic in Oregon, and they received care. And they were taken in by someone who was a volunteer. And they ended up wanting to get married. They ended up trying to find dresses for these people who had no money. And that's how Adorned in Grace was grown. So the trafficking part of the ministry and the free dental and medical clinics kind of come together. And so the bridal boutique is in Lakewood, and the proceeds from that boutique go right into helping us literally save girls off the street that we get phone calls,
And
we
that's
got someone.
That's the thing I wanted to bring that up to, the prevalence of this. And Adorned in Grace, for anyone who's not familiar, helps assist girls who have been abducted and
trafficked,
and
right.
tried to bring them back
Yes.
into society.
Right.
And so, the idea, the
So
prevalence.
human trafficking is huge. I tell people that human trafficking is a bigger business than Google, Microsoft, and Amazon all wrapped up together.
Right.
And those people that are out there trafficking young boys and girls, they take advantage, especially during this COVID time, because they are online. And they try to win friendships, and they try to win the friendships of these young boys and girls, and then they're not really who they say they are.
Absolutely.
And one of the programs that Adorned in Grace has is called Power Over Predators. And so we are using that in the schools, in the churches, to get out into the community so we can share with the children and with their parents the importance of safe relationships and what safe relationships are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because, the idea that, what is your child doing online?
Oh,
Because
sure.
it can be actually
Sure.
really.
It can be bad. I recently had a person who actually heard about Adorned in Grace, who had heard about the Power Over Predators program. She actually saw her neighbor's children going into a car with their suitcases, but she hadn't heard from the parents that they were going anywhere. So she literally called the mom and said, "Hey, are you guys going somewhere? I see your kids getting into a car." And all of a sudden, the mom was like, "What?" And they ended up calling the airports, calling the bus stations for these children, and they found the children. The children had been literally groomed by someone online. Come visit us in California. We'll take you to Disneyland. And they were a 13 and 14-year-old, and they had met them online. So it's really important for parents to just know what children are doing, who they're talking to, just be aware. Just
Right.
Be aware.
And sometimes it's I want to say that COVID has been a blessing and not a blessing.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think everybody you talk to says the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
But now you're home with your kids. And even though you want to kill them right now because you're
They're
stuck at
driving
home,
you nuts. Yep.
but I think you've got to you've learned more about them and their friends
And
and,
their
who they
friends.
talk to
Right.
and it's so
Right.
important because my kids, they didn't get online, thank goodness, and did all of that stuff, but I also knew who their friends were because they all hung out at our
Right.
house, right? But now it's a different time.
It's a different time. It is a very different time, and you just don't know.
Yeah, because
You just
people are
don't
like,
know.
"Oh, I'm just talking to my friend online," and so most parents are like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Instead of going, well, who is it? Oh, hi. I mean, really, parents really have to get involved
Yes.
with, and stay involved with, their kids' friends. Most people
And
think
it's
that
those loners. It's
right?
those loners that you want to reach out to. Those children that they're home by themselves. Maybe they've got a single mom. I was a single mom, and my son was kind of by himself a lot as well. That's why I never got a computer. I was like, nope, not gonna have one. Sorry. And he would just be, Mom, and I'm sorry, can't do it. I just can't do it.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Good for you. So, oh gosh, my mind is just racing so many different places, So, Power Over Predator program. Yes. How can people who are listening, who, might be,
goodness,
like, oh my gosh, I think I really need this in my church, or I really need this kind of program in my school. How can I get a hold of you to do that?
So Power Over Predators, Adorning Grace actually has facilitators. And what's really awesome is if you get the program through us, we provide the facilitators. So we come to your church. We come to your so we have some rugby class groups, teams, and some softball teams that are smaller. So we're just meeting with them and their parents, and we just come in. And yes, there is a cost to it, but that program can be used as long as you have it.
Right.
What's nice is that we have counselors, we have educators that are retired that are part of our team. So when we go in, even to a school, we know what to look for. We understand triggers, and it's surprisingly, children can be triggered. We just did the program with all of the Teen Challenge ladies, and it was amazing. Some of them were just shocked and couldn't believe what they didn't know.
Right.
And these young ladies are worldly. They understand. They've been on the streets, but they were still shocked at some of the information they didn't know. And I need to share this with my kids. I need to share this with my mom.
Right.
So,
right. Because even then you think that especially, and I remember that story you told me this last week about, your Teen Challenge girls going through that, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
And
knowledge is power. And knowledge is so important. When we have the knowledge, we know what to do with it. Yes. And sharing knowledge with our children is one of the most important things we can do as parents and as teachers and as neighbors, is to share it. One of the biggest things I've learned through Power Over Predators is when you don't think something's right, it normally isn't.
Right.
And I think that's something that has really changed me. When I see something that's not right, I take action. I don't just sit there and go, "Ooh, that doesn't look right." I literally take action, whether I walk up to them, whether I just ask the girl, "Are you okay?" Whether I make a phone call to the police and I go, "There's a situation at this grocery store that I'm not really sure is good, and these are the license plate numbers," and and I just make those calls because I'm not going to sit there and just assume that everything's okay.
Right.
I have to do something about it, not just sit there.
That's the whole mindset difference, because most people assume, well, that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's not my business.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Jesus.
Right.
Everything's our business. We have to protect the little ones. They can't protect themselves, and we have to help them.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And I agree with what going into the schools or the churches, because then it makes you aware of because you just hear news reports all the time of coaches and teachers and who've kind of, they come in from a position of trust and authority.
Exactly. And they not only groom the children, they groom the parents. But Power Over Predators helps you listen for key things they'll do, listen for the words they may use, listen for the ideas they may have, so you can go, not real sure about this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, so that takes me to, oh goodness, your tree farm that's going on right now. So let's promote that a little bit more.
Yes.
We have a couple more minutes left, and so let's promote that a little bit more. So the tree farm, tell them again where is.
It's on 112th Street South and A Street South. It's actually in the parking lot of Church for All Nations, and it's open from 11 to 7 Sunday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturday it's open 9 to 7. And we have Douglas firs, we have Nobles, Grand firs, and we have one more. I think it's called a Normand that I was not familiar with because I came from Hawaii. We just got nobles. Literally, that's all we got.
Yep.
The range, and we have little elf ones too. They're itty bitty. They're little elf ones. They're so cute.
Oh, really?
So it ranges from 30 to 78. 78 is the most expensive, and that's your $8 to $10 8 to 10 foot noble. And the girls are there, and they're happy to help you. And it's just so much fun. And I love that we've had so many people stop by and kind of
they
pick
have
up
a
their
fire,
trees.
and
We have
they
a fire.
have
Yes,
nice.
yes, we
they
have a
have
fire.
hot cinnamon drinks or spiced
I have.
drinks.
You can bring me a cocoa on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm there. You can come visit me. Michelle brought me lunch.
I
She
brought her
was so
lunch
nice.
from Muscle Maker Grill.
That's right, and it was yummy. Oh my gosh, I am sold on Muscle Maker Grill.
Yes,
Sold.
yes, I love Muscle
Quick
Maker
plug.
Grill. I'm going to do a quick plug from them since I already said it. But if you want to have like an amazing, healthy
Yes.
lunch prepared for you,
Yes.
Muscle Maker Grill, they do meal plans, they do
Yeah.
catering.
I actually referred them to someone who's having a holiday party.
Nice.
I said, "Oh, you need to go try these guys. It's
Yeah,
amazing."
absolutely.
And pricing is so reasonable.
Absolutely. So Muscle Maker Grill,
Yes.
South Hill, Puyallup,
Yeah,
right?
South Hill Puyallup.
So
you go.
a little bit about before the ending. My question is to you, Kavehi. How did you get involved with these things? What was
Oh,
it that
wow. So, all my life, my parents volunteered for everything. So I grew up in a home where volunteerism was a way of life. I volunteered. I got to know both Adorn and Grace and Teen Challenge because I lost my job in February, and I had already known both of them, so I volunteered. I wasn't going to sit at home, get a check from, the state and not do anything. So I just went 40 hours a week, literally like 20 hours here, 20 hours there. I just volunteered and I helped. And anywhere that they needed me to go, I also volunteered at Tacoma Rescue Mission for quite a while with them as well. And I love to give back. To me, doing good and giving back is my dream. And I had my previous job was the community ambassador for a moving company, storage company here in Pierce County, and I literally went out and did good and gave back. And when you do good, it's easy.
Yes.
But one of the things that I think so many people forget is that it doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of money. If you can volunteer 1 hour a month, 1 hour a month, you're giving back.
Absolutely.
And I help companies. I will go to companies and help them to figure out how to give back because there are so many nonprofits that are so awesome here in Pierce County. There are those national ones, and then there are your local ones, like the Empowerment Center that is local, and the My Sister's Pantry is local. You've got your Adorn and Grace is local. It's not this big national thing, but Northwest Furniture Bank is local, right here in your own backyard. So if you know about these, like the Wishing Well, helping foster kids, if you know about these places, then you can give back. But so many companies don't even know where to start.
Right.
And I love to just sit down with them and say, hey, let's just find out where your employees already donate time. And it's amazing when you go to a company and you find out where their people are already donating time. Then you can kind of get on the bandwagon.
Right.
And then, once a month we're going to go here to the pet shelter. Or once a month we're going to go to, the rescue mission. Once a month we're going to go to this food bank. Once a month. And pretty soon, imagine if you went once a month. You've just now given back 12 times in a year. And it didn't cost a lot. I have Prime Storage coming out next week. Tuesday, they're coming out to the tree lot. They're going to help me. They're going to help me for a couple hours, just holding up signs, helping me with customers. That's them giving back and doing good. And I'm just thankful because it keeps me, I have somebody to talk to and we can visit. But I love helping people know where to go because connections is everything. It really is. Relationships is all I'm going to take to heaven with me. I'm going to leave everything here. And if y'all have houses you're trying to clean, I can tell you where to take your jackets. I can tell you where to take your formals. I can tell you where to take your furniture because I know where to take it.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, we're coming down to the end, Kavehi. So tell us how people can get in touch with you.
Oh, my goodness. So at Teen Challenge, you can get in touch with me at kavehi.marshall at teenchallengepnw.com.
Okay, so
Kavehi.
for our listeners
Yes.
who are not Hawaiian and don't understand that the Hawaiian alphabet is only 13 letters, can you spell Kavehi?
Yes, Kawehi. .Marshall with 2 L's, MARSHALL, at teenchallengepnw.com. And then at Adorned in Grace, it's Kavehi at compassionconnect.com.
All right, and so since I just said that, so what are the 13 letters of
yes.
the Hawaiian alphabet?
So HKLMNPW. Okay, and then the W, if it's in the middle, is a V sound. If it's at the front, it's a W sound.
Yeah.
And then A, E, O, U. So that's how you say the vowels. A, E, O, U. And then we have what we call an okina, which is like a little apostrophe. Depending on where you put it in the word, it means something different.
Interesting. Wow.
Yep.
Well,
hey.
thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, and,
you're welcome.
best of luck with both organizations.
Thank
And I
you.
will see you at either one of those organizations.
Yes, you will.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you so
remember
much.
the Christmas. If you want to get your Christmas tree lot, you
Yeah.
go to what's the street?
It's 111 112th Street East at the corner of 112th and A Street.
There you go, in
Parkland.
Tacoma. Great, thank you
Parkland.
so much.
In
Parkland.
Parkland. Okay,
Parkland,
wow.
yes.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for.
Hey, take care.
Thanks.
All right. So, our tip of the day is 5 money mistakes that people make, Steve. And so, what's the first one, do you think?
First one, credit cards. How about that?
Yes. Yep. So, carrying a balance on those credit cards, right? Do you know that there are 860 billion credit card balances out there right now?
That's why the banks are the biggest buildings in town.
That's right. That's right. You know, and people, the mistake that they make about that is that they don't understand how expensive that is to keep a revolving balance on there. You know, so let's think of it this way, just to put it in perspective. If I had $1,000 that was left on my credit card for the next month and I didn't pay it off, that would add up to $138 per year on my credit score or my credit balance. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it sure adds up, don't you think?
Yep.
Yep.
Compound effect.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we can do to keep that credit card balance is to, some solutions. You can do a transfer balance of 0%, right? You can do that, or you could do a personal loan, take it out, consolidate that debt, get rid of their debt, because what most credit cards, Steve, has what kind of interest rate on there?
Oh,
The average is
15 or more.
15 to more. Some are 23.
The banks are giving us 0 point whatever percent, less than 1% rate on our money, but yet they're charging us 15%
Yep, on that bank card.
to borrow our own money. So don't find ways to stay out of credit card. And the next one is not saving for retirement. That's number 2.
Huge mistake, not saving for retirement. Most people think, I'll do that later, like when I have money. Or I'll do that later when I get that pay raise, right?
And one of the major things, too, is that especially if you're working for a company that offers matching, you should always put enough to get the matching, because free money is good. Mm-hmm. And people don't really utilize sometimes their what the company's offering them. So just be aware that you can actually get additional money and pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first.
And
Do you know that if you don't start saving now for retirement, it's going to be twice as much that later to put in, right? So solutions. Some of the solutions are, hey, look at your company. Again, like what Steve said, do they have a 401 match? If not, you know what? Seek out a financial coach. Maybe they'll tell you a little bit about what a Roth IRA is or an IRA, and put something in plans for you together. All right. So here's the big question. So how much do we put in to our plan?
What is?
So let's think. If I was 25 years old and I started saving for retirement at age 65, and I made $75,000 a year, the rule is about 20%, right?
That's one fifth of your salary and $15,000 a year
that you'd have to put away, right? And so $15,000 to replace 85% of your income. So that comes to about $1,200 a month that you'd have to start putting away.
And you may not be able to do it at this point, but it's good to know that number so you can actually shoot towards it and have a goal. Because that's the main thing about retirement funds. People do not think about retirement. They think down the road, when I start making more money, it's going to, but what that also inevitably happens, that you are not in the habit of spending or paying yourself first.
Correct.
So that's the key. So if you start saving younger, you develop the habit. But if you find yourself, hey, I haven't saved, it's what do they say, the adage, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. But do it now if you haven't done it.
Start it now. Another mistake people have, Steve, is living without an emergency fund.
Yes.
Right? Living without an emergency fund. And this is for like something that's unexpected, like something happens to the car, or maybe loss of job, or it never ends. Like as soon as I start putting up that emergency fund, the washer goes out, the dishwasher goes out, something, right? And so we're always apt to go for that free credit card at that store, 0 down and, pay it off in a year, or else you get all that interest that accumulated for that whole year if you miss one day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. So putting stuff away for emergency fund. The average person, they did a study, and this was something, if there was a $400 repair, they said something like consumers can pay $400 cash or credit by the end of the month. Yay. But they said 27% of the population would not be able to pay $400.
Yeah, that's
They'd
amazing.
have to borrow or sell something. And 12% would not be able to cover it at all.
A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
And so that's always make sure you have we like the solution, 2% of your paychecks a month, and we'll start adding up. So it sounds like a small percentage, but just start putting some aside, a little bit every month.
Absolutely.
Set aside some for your retirement, set aside something from your emergency fund. We actually advocate having 3 funds: an emergency fund, a savings fund to have for a goal like a car or a house, and then the long-term set it and forget it retirement fund. Just get in the habit of saving money, and that's our. And then the next one is accepting average savings account yields.
Oh yeah, this is a huge one, right? So, Steve, what's the interest rate in your bank right now?
It's less than 0.5%.
Yep, exactly. The average right now is 0.09%. So let's think of it this way. If I had $5,000 in the bank in savings or checking right now, and I got 0.09, I would get $4.50 for the whole year for interest. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yep. So here's one of the solutions, right? So, we're always going to give you the negative, and then we'll try to give you a solution about it, right?
Yeah.
So there are actually some online bank accounts, that are actually giving 2%.
Yeah, look for them. They are out there. And there's a lot of ads, so just be careful. But don't accept what your bank is, and look that it makes sense. So it'll bring money. It'll be, and when you think about 2%, doesn't sound like much, but it's actually 100% better than what you're currently earning. So,
Yeah, so that same $5,000 at a 2% interest, I would at least have $116 by the end of the year. So I can either have $4 where I currently are now, or I can have 116 at the end of the year for interest.
100% return. So
You know?
that's what you have to.
The only thing about online-only banks is that you really have to just read the fine print, make sure that you do your due diligence. There are some rules apply. There are some things where like you have to have a certain amount of money in there as well.
Yep.
Right.
Usually a minimum requirement.
Right. And your last one. This is huge for
not taking charge of your student loans.
Yep. This is pretty hard because a lot of people on this topic, there's like $1.6 trillion in student loan debt right now. It's pretty hefty.
That's why the colleges are like hedge funds. They're all about generating money for themselves. So I just have to make people aware. College is necessary, but is it required to go deep in debt?
Yeah. I mean, there's some hefty student loans out there and payments. And so sometimes major milestones get in the way, right? Like, I'd rather save for a house than pay for my college loan. I'll just keep deferring it, defer it. Well, eventually that deferring stops. And then your payment, which probably wasn't so high in the beginning when you could have started paying it off, now is, now it's a lot heavier and the interest has just kept on occurring, right? So the solution is, well, one, you can get an income-based repay loan.
Yep. There are programs out there, and we've known a few people who have reduced their student loan debt through that.
Yep. You can refinance at a different rate. If you feel your student loan is pretty high, you can reduce that. And then there are some forgiveness programs out there. Just make sure you seek them out and make sure that those are different ways of getting through that.
Student loans are not absolved through bankruptcy or that. They stick with you.
Yep.
So just the government will get its money back. So.
One way or another.
One way or another. Anyway, so we'll just.
So those are your 5 tips for today on 5 mistakes about money.
Yeah, 5. The carrying a balance on credit cards. Number 1, not saving for retirement. Number 2, and living without an emergency fund. Number 3, accepting average savings account yields. Number 4. And not taking charge of student loans. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We are more than willing to sit down with you and help you along those lines. Thank you so much.
Yep, great.